Welcome back to Red and Blue. I'm Nicole Killian. With less than 2 years until the 2024 presidential election, potential candidates are beginning to emerge. Former President Donald Trump threw his hat into the ring in November. He's expected to encounter challenges from several other potential GOP candidates, including a number of current and former governors. President Biden has signaled his intent to run for re-election next year. Sources say he is waiting until after tomorrow's State of the Union address to make a formal announcement. Former Republican Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson joins me now for more. Governor, thanks so much for being here. You know, you were recently in Iowa. You've been to New Hampshire, South Carolina. I guess reading the tea leaves, one might make some predictions here. But last year, you said pretty definitively that you expect to make a decision in the first part of next year as to whether or not you would run for president. So now that we are officially in that window, I wonder, do you have anything to announce?
Well, certainly. Whenever you see Nikki Haley jumping in there, you see Donald Trump already in there, you know that we're going to have to make some decisions. And obviously, with the fact that I'm in some of the early states, but also going to Arizona to talk about ideas and solutions for our border crisis and immigration issues that we face. These are important time for me to get that consistent, conservative, common sense message out there. That's what I'm doing first and foremost. And last year, I did believe that, a candidate would need to get in and make a decision, the first part of the year, January, February. I think because of the slowness and how this has developed, we have a little bit more time to make that final decision.
What do you mean by the slowness and how this has developed?
Well, because
that no one else has gotten in?
Trump got in, but he was very quiet for a month or so. And so it's been slow in developing. And also, people know that there's going to be some options to former President Trump. The important thing for me is to be out there and talk about the border security issues, but also the support for Ukraine that I think is important and sometimes wanes across America. People need to hear that message. We need to look for solutions when it comes to the crime in the streets and to make sure that we enforce our law. And then, of course, inflation is still hurting Americans. And so we want to develop these solutions. And if that message carries out, that I can make a decision at the right time as to the role that I will play in 2024 and continue to look at potential presidential campaign.
I mean, are you trying to buy yourself some extra time here, or how close are you to actually making a decision?
Well, everything's close. I mean, you're looking at probably April. You have some of the forums there in Iowa. In July, they'll have some of the first debates.
I mean, what would convince you to get in or stay out?
Continue getting the response to the message that I bring. Right now, it's been very, very positive, and they're looking for someone that is not going to be creating chaos, but also has got the record of being a governor, of lowering taxes. We're the #1 pro-life state in Arkansas. And so a good conservative record, but problem solving and not reactionary or vengeful or angry. That's who we need to lead the party. And whenever you look at a candidate that we might present, it's got to be somebody that can attract independent voters and suburban voters. In the November election in 2022, we missed that. We didn't take advantage of that. So the answer to your question is, I want to continue to hear the response to this message, and that will help determine exactly what I do.
I know you mentioned Nikki Haley, who, as you know, is jumping into the race next week. And so if you do decide to run, of course, you would be one of at least 2 southern state governors in the race. So I just wonder, how do you see her as a potential opponent, and how do you differentiate yourself in what could be a crowded field?
Well, it probably will be a crowded field early. I don't think it'll be as crowded as it was in 2016. We'll see. And so I think there's a different dynamics. But first of all, many of those that'll get in, whether it's Nikki Haley or another governor, we're friends. We've worked together. I have great respect for. I haven't spoken to her. I'm sure that we will as time goes on, but not recently. And so what we need are people who are out there conveying a message that we believe in for our future. And we've got to see how the Iowa voters respond to that, or New Hampshire. and then someone is going to catch on. But we don't want to diminish it early. We don't want to short circuit the opportunity to lead and to offer that leadership. And to me, whenever you look at what we need in a president of the United States, a leader of our country, we need somebody that will bring out the best in America.
And then just very briefly, a yes or no answer. I mean, you've been quite critical of the former president. You have said you feel that January 6th disqualifies him from serving as president again. And so I just wonder, especially since he remains the GOP frontrunner at this time, would you support him if he ultimately becomes the party nominee? Yes or no?
Well, I'm not a fan. I do believe that he disqualified himself and should not serve our country again as a result of what happened. That's my belief and conviction. I don't think
so. Is that a no?
Well, I'm not giving you a definitive answer there because the RNC is still looking at the rules for the debates. I don't think it should be a requirement. I oppose a Democratic Party loyalty oath. As a Republican in Arkansas, I don't think those are good for our country. We don't know who's going to be the nominee. Just about everybody I can support, but I want to keep my powder dry on that for just a little bit longer because I don't think he's going to be the nominee, and I don't like a requirement for making pledges in advance. So let's just see how that develops as to what's required by the RNC to participate.
All right, Governor. Well, thanks so much. I'm sure we'll have you back and certainly keep us posted on your plans.